Hello and welcome to Access Sportsnet. Lakers driven by your Southern California Honda dealers. Chris McGee, James Worthy, Robert Ory, Allie Clifton's going to join us in a little bit. We got Trudell and Brez working the post game per usual. Lakers win as the gang gets back together. LeBron and Dennis return along with AD. They're now on a 4-game win streak, and with the final game tomorrow, there's still a little hope to grab that 6th seed.
Yeah, it's unfortunately they have to depend on another team, to lose a game. But yeah, it's still possible. It kind of feels like the old movie The Blues Brothers right now. We're getting the band back together.
Yes,
because they're getting pieces back together. LeBron and AD, Shooter, and you can see a little boost of confidence. But we'll just have to wait and see. The Lakers still have to win their game tomorrow against the Pelicans, and we'll have to see how this season's going to unfold before that play-in week.
Rob, before you go, you have 7 rings, but the king is talking. Let's go to Indiana. Mike Trudell with LeBron James.
All right, LeBron, Indy cuts it to 3. You go on that 7-0 run on offense. Just thinking about what you said before, the second half, the ankle got a little stiff when you returned the last time. I wondered how it felt this second half and how you were able to overcome that, if it did, down the stretch.
Oh, much better. Much better than it did. I think that was the Toronto game, the last game that I played. The ankle just felt a lot more mobility, a lot more movement. It was warm. A tiny bit of soreness today, right now as the game is over, which I expected it, but I didn't have a setback today, so that's a damn good job for myself and for Mike Mancias and the medical team.
Yeah, LeBron, it's so hard to replicate NBA basketball. You can't unless you're playing. So how important was today for you to just get out there, get a run in with the playoffs fast approaching?
The funny thing is, it actually threw me for a loop too, because I knew I wanted to kind of gear up and play in tonight's game, which I actually thought was a night game. And then yesterday we making a flight and they said we play tomorrow at 1. So I was like, oh man. So I got to get going early. I got to get my engine revved up early. I didn't know how the ankle was going to respond with it being a 1 o'clock start. So, which is actually 10 o'clock for us on the West Coast. But responded very well, and I'm excited about what tomorrow holds.
All right, LeBron, and I'd be remiss not to just ask you about the Hall of Fame induction ceremony today. KG, Tim Duncan, and of course Kobe Bryant. You guys got the chip for him last season. Just wanted to know where your head's at with what's going on and everybody who's speaking later today.
Well, it's a celebration of greats, and you just named 3 of them. One of them happened to be, a brother of ours with the Laker organization, someone who set the tone for this organization for 20 years, and Kobe, and it's an unbelievable time for himself, looking down on all of the compliments that he had for his wife and his daughters, and for his daughter that's up there going to be watching alongside Kobe when they watch the enshrinement. So it was a beautiful thing to see Vanessa, put the jacket on his daughter, on his eldest yesterday. Beautiful thing, and it's a beautiful time for the Lakers. Like I said, it's a celebration for another Laker great, and just happy to be a part of his legacy.
Thanks, LeBron. We appreciate it.
I appreciate it.
All right, here it is, guys. Take a look at Anthony Davis and LeBron James. Remember, LeBron had missed 26 of 28 games. LeBron played 28 minutes. AD played 36. AD finished with 28. 17 of those were in the first quarter. He also had 10 rebounds and 5 assists. LeBron James got heated up. 24 points, 11 of 22, 8 assists, and 7 rebounds. Rob, I'll start with you. What did you see from LeBron tonight?
I saw some good movement. Saw some great ball movement. So it was all about movement for him. When you have an ankle injury and you come in.
But for us, obviously we're monitoring, what the matchups could look like, but really just controlling what we can control, which is to come out and play a great basketball game today, get some minutes with our guys that haven't had a lot of time to build cohesion and, try to win a basketball game today. You win as many games as you can in a regular season, and wherever the standings end up, that's where they end up, and we'll be prepared to play anyone.
All right, so the good news is everybody back today. The Lakers could still be the 6, the 7, or the 8. They could play Denver, Portland, or Utah. It is now impossible for them to play the Clippers after the Clippers lost their game last night, Geeter, at Houston.
All right, Mike, great update right there and some good news. So LeBron is in. Let's go. And as Frank said, we have not had a lot of time to build cohesion. Can they do it one day? Let's see, Big Game James. All I know is it's nice to have everyone running the floor together.
It is. That's a start to get into that cohesiveness that you're talking about. So LeBron he's a brilliant player. It won't take him a long time to adapt to to the players that he's used to playing, and as far as acclimating somebody like Drummond as well. So it's just a matter of he and Schroeder and Caruso, all those guys getting back and getting stamina, getting some runs. You need those dummy offense situations sometimes when you're trying to get everything back together. So hopefully they'll have those moments, but it shouldn't take them too long either.
What do you think LeBron's looking at this morning when he plays in terms of his own body and his ankle?
I think he's going to see how he can cut, see how he can defend, and see what, jumping off that leg is going to feel like. Because if you think about LeBron game is all power and strength and finesse. So when he's making those cuts on that ankle, he has to make sure that he's 100. He has to make sure that he can do the things that's not going to put him in a bad predicament. Because, like James always says, you got to do what you can on defense and test it, because you can't predict what the guy's going to do on defense. Your body has to react. And so you can always do what you want to do on offense, but defense you can't. So you got to see how he feels. And you're just going to watch him, see if any limping is going on, but I think it'd be fine.
As Rob was talking, you were kind of pushing off your feet, doing like LeBron-type moves that you were.
Yeah, I was trying to see which leg he pushes off of the most. And usually time I think it's the left, but as Rob stated, I remember when I had an ankle injury and we were going up against Chicago, I could control where I was going, but then Scottie Pippen knew my ankle. And he'd give me one of those little fakes, and I would have to go for it, and that's when you'd be like, oh, something you didn't anticipate doing. So it'll be interesting to see how he feels tonight.
Big game. I love that Dennis Schroeder is back after missing 7 games in a row due to health and safety protocols. It's just nice to have that playmaker back in the lineup, another ball handler, and a guy that's going to pick you up 94 feet and play defense.
Yeah, personally, I think if we'd have had him for a couple of those games, the Lakers wouldn't be in this situation.
We'd be already been the main draw.
He's learned how to lead, and more importantly, Rob always points this out. This brother picked you up full court, and that changes your whole offense. Because by picking you up full court, you're going to lose 7 seconds, out of the shot clock, just dealing with that. So, it's nice to have him back, and it's nice that they're getting everybody back at the right time so they can, get it back together.
Yeah, these games will be like exhibition games where they had to get out there and practice and get to know each other, because we hadn't had this starting lineup to play with each other yet. So
one time, right? Sacramento game, I think, and it wasn't for very long.
It wasn't for very long, so that really don't count.
It doesn't count.
and practice is not the same. People say, well, they had time to practice. No, you need to get in game situations where the opponent doesn't know your plays, where you can go out there and challenge each other. And games are so much easier than practice sometimes, because in practice, you know a guy's play, so you're going to anticipate and make them work harder. So in the game, you got to get those situations down. And I just want to see how the pick and roll situation with Drummond and the other 2 guys that's fresh, and how he's going to get some basketballs. Drummond, because he's a great roller, but they got to find him.
Big game. We ask you to do a lot of things, but understanding the standings is not one. That's my job to explain it. So I want to show you what the standings look like right now, because they are a mess. Big game, James. And the NBA is getting what they wanted, I guess. Teams jockeying for positioning strategically. Seeds are in flux. Teams are tanking. Teams trying to get in. It's mass hysteria, big game, James. Lakers currently tied with the Blazers, who play Denver tomorrow night. Lakers in 7th, so if the playoffs started today, they would be in the play-in. But if they win the final 2 games of the season and Portland loses, they can finish 6th and be in the main draw. And maybe you'll be on an island. I don't know. I'm just saying. There's a chance.
I mean, this has been confusing. I've had people standing in the line in the grocery store, and so what is this playing thing? And I just try to tell them that, the owners, they want those 10 games that you gave up. And, it usually 1 through 8. So I said, 7 and 8 play, and, if we win, then we're in. And if we lose, we play 8, 9. So it's been confusing for everybody, but I think we finally got a hold on it. Thanks for Brez.
You're welcome.
Brez and you as well, and Allie, and
Clippers lost to the Rockets, which was amazing. By the way, OKC has quietly lost 24 of 25 games, one of the all-time tank jobs. That's who the Clippers play tomorrow. But when you're in OKC, you can just fly under the radar. Not anymore.
Old school guys, my age, are like, man, there's a lot of positioning.
Positioning.
Going on, right? Yeah.
Strategic positioning. Lakers and Pacers are coming up at the top of the hour. AD returns after sitting out Wednesday. The last 3 games, AD has dominated, averaging 33 and 10. We're back with more after the break. Kobe Bryant headed to the Hall of Fame later today.